righty. Hello, this is Kev, and this is the YouTube channel Black Men Being Brutally Honest. And I am one of the habitual line steppers. And as you tune in right now and in the future, you will learn what that means right there. Now, I come here to YouTube to inform, and I do it in a brutally honest way, the most brutally honest way possible, without trying to go too overboard. I mean, I'm not, of course, I'm not here to get myself into situations and to start fights because I do see a lot of fighting here. But I can be the voice of reason, which I really want to be able to do one day once everyone gets to know me. Or it could go down this way. Is sometimes it happens like this. Sometimes we get ourselves into situations that we have to answer. So we you know
with a lot of muscle mass, but it's time for Bullhorn to get up in that ass. Hey, motherfucker.
okay then. So um here is the subject matter. And let me do this real quick. I also want to tell you where all of this come from, where all of this was born. So let me do a little screenshot real quick. I'm about to and fellas, why don't y'all say so? Why don't y'all introduce yourselves while I set up the screen share real quick? Roger, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Roger, tell them a little bit about yourself. Yeah, Roger, what's up? Oh well, Roger, get back to us in a second. Anyway, let me show you where a little bit of where I come from before we get this subject matter underway. Uh, I am the creator of the original uh, Black Men Being Brutally Honest with Everyone. Just to offer some clarity, the group has been in existence for like 2 years and a couple of months. 2 years and a couple of months. There are a decent amount of clone groups on on Facebook with that share the same name, but I guarantee you, I'm the first, I'm the original, and I'm the authentic. And it's just Facebook. It's really a thing that it's really a fun thing, just like everything else. Like if you are a YouTuber and take you take what you do seriously as far as what's on social media, then you have fun with YouTube also. So it's been an interesting deal, to be able to do this, and I've like everything, even though it presents its challenges and it presents its conflicts. We have a good regular base that comes through there. So I don't know. Despite what you may have heard, everybody's experience with the group is different. Just know that I sort of meant well a little bit, somewhat. Like the meme that's the cover photo. That's just something funny that I put together. Because I do get a lot of feedback, and I like to poke fun at some people sometimes. I mean, it's really nothing personal. I mean, it's all shits and giggles at the end of the day. But group is searchable on Facebook right now. It's a 26K group membership, as you can see right here. So this is how 26,073 members. So that's how you know you're in the right group. Like I said, there are some there are some clones out there that share the same name, and I just want to make sure if you come to the group, you are in the right place. Uh, yes, there are members of the YouTube community that have been members of that group. Um, so, and they can tell you all about it. But like I said, everybody's experience is different. And like I said, know that I meant well. And if it's something that you would like to discuss with me one day, we have both Facebook and we have both YouTube to do all of that. So I will open up the panel to people who may be watching that may want to come on. If I can figure out how to put the Hangouts link in the chat. And let's get this discussion underway. All right, fellas. I want to let you. I want to ask you guys what you think of this subject matter here. Um, my, I think that is a pretty accurate point to make. Uh, I think that yes, I think that with the narratives being presented out there by certain parts of the social media community, that yes, just by in the most literal of the sense, I mean what I say when I entitle these videos, whether uh, everybody thinks I'm doing a good job with really stating what I'm saying. This is just the way I talk in real life reality. So I have a definitive statement. Don't let these women fool you. They will fuck with a broke dude. I mean, all that little chit chat, all that little banner on social media, all that Cardi B logic out there, that's just for show. Uh, it, it, and also with the whole, like, and I hear this a lot. I hear this a lot, about how black men's delivery is because they're not getting any or all the other little stuff, all the little shaming stuff, and I think this is a bunch of guys that just don't have it figured out. Now, I'm not saying that there's not any kind of like fuckboy movement out there, but let's just keep it real. It's like a lot of this stuff is just, some kind of big ass front that people put up. Don't like all it really takes, and I can tell you that this is a discussion that me and my boy Donnie Casanova. He's 1/3 of the habitual line steppers. He cannot be with us tonight, but he's definitely here in spirit. He said all it takes is a conversation. I mean, and it seriously does. I can tell you from my experiences, and I'm sure the other two gentlemen on the panel also can tell you from their experiences. All these little complaining that a lot of people do about this kind of stuff is bullshit. But help me out a little bit, Roger. Are you there?
Absolutely.
All right.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Tell them who you are.
Okay, folks, this is Roger Stevens. I am also 1/3 of the habitual line steppers. You get a chance. But yeah, when it comes to the subject matter, I think it's an important subject matter because a lot of women present this image that the reason they're not messing with certain black dudes is because they don't have money or don't have it together. But if we start looking at the results of who they have been having sex with, and don't get me wrong, it is, and it may not be no one else's opinion, but it's my opinion. And I'm saying, based on who they have sex with, I look at it as black women are basically participating in what they call a whole culture. Uh, Black men are not being denied sex. I don't think there's any other race of men that are truly being denied sex. They seem to sleep with everyone, as far as I can tell. When you have side conversations with non-black men, what I picked up on, black women are basically viewed as America's hoes. If you cannot do well with your own woman, you're a white guy. You can't get a white woman at the level you want, so you just go get your black woman because you'll be able to get one at whatever level you choose to. because your skin is white. And that's pretty much the same thing that happens with other non-black men. So women do make a lot. They complain about what black men don't have, but if you start looking at the what the baby's father is doing when it comes to the children that they did have, a lot of they purposely pick out a lot of black men that are not doing well at all, or that are doing a lot less than they are doing. So when they start saying, "Well, you ain't got yourself together, that's why women ain't messing with you," well, that's got to be a complete lie, because there's no real major entry fee when it comes to black women. I'm gonna say it like that, because I'm trying to be somewhat nice about it. But there's like no real entry fee. They're pretty much have sex with just about anybody from what any economic standpoint.
From
Uh,
the economic standpoint. Uh,
yeah, a lack of finances is not gonna hold you back from black. It just ain't.
so you don't think that? Let me ask you a question. Let's take it from like the love angle. You don't think that anybody messes with broke guys because of love? I mean, because then broke in the context that is used on social media is supposed to be insulting. Insulting. So basically, you have many claims that they wouldn't love a broke dude, but you see by the things that you see in your society, yeah, they kind of do. And I'm not even saying that, hey, you know what, I'm the richest, most well-off guy, but doing back in my younger days, when I didn't have you didn't have what I have, I was able to I was able to do okay. I would say that much, and I didn't have to put up a whole lot of cash to do it. I mean, nothing really too much far past a date or something, and the date wouldn't even cost that much. I mean, it's like what I'm saying is to spend time with these women. It doesn't take you can't. I don't feel like you can use the excuse that they're just gold diggers. uh, but anyway, that is what I have to say on some of that. Cute.
Yo, what's up, man? This Q, and I am not a habitual line stepper. uh, just a little side humor, but yeah, sticking to the topic at hand. Listen, man, I know that it's going to be a lot of sisters out there that are going to get in an uproar when they see the topic, and they hear some of the comments that are going to come from the brothers on this call, right? The the problem is a lot of men and women do not want to acknowledge the fact that women are just as fucking horny as men are, and even more so in today's time. A lot of women still want to hold, in my opinion, that virtuous woman role, knowing that they've had a whole past. Sorry, but that's just what it is. In regards to sisters that will deal with a broke dick dude. Yeah, they're out there. That's evident. It's 2019. It's what we live in right now. So there are sisters who are paying mortgage notes for brothers' apartment bills and cell phone bills. There are sisters that are paying the Jody syndrome. Remember that, the Jody syndrome, that where he was dropping her off at her job, and he took her car and had the car tinted out and put the datings on it and all this shit. The Jody syndrome. It's a lot of sisters out there that don't want to admit to the fact that they have the Jody syndrome, from whatever and wherever it might have come from or still stem from. That's what you have. A lot of them want brothers that they can control. Um, and a lot of these brothers seem to be the thug type dudes. Uh, they seem to be the stereotypical alpha trait mentality males, when in fact they are the exact opposite. Dealing with for many black women, dealing with a man who they can keep under their thumb is a way to show ownership and possession of, as well as control over. No real man gonna go for no shit like that. I don't need to drop you off and at your job and I go home and play PlayStation for 8 hours and then gotta pick you up and then all this other bullshit. No, that's the broke dick daddy syndrome that a lot of these sisters are adhering to out here. Didn't say all, said some. I won't even say the vast majority, but I see it happening every day. You go to the
Man,
hospital, you go to the hospitals, there are a lot of fine sisters that got degrees, a couple of degrees, uh, doctorates, some of them, PhDs, some of them, and they're dealing with a man who is well beneath their stratosphere of what they should be dealing with. They're paying for car notes, they're taking them on trips, and they're doing all of this different shit. But at the same time, you will have women to defend that by saying, well, black men on average are not up to par to black women. And that's bullshit. We all know that. The problem is the good black men, the good brothers ain't gonna deal with a motherfucker who has a bad cat facts. We just ain't gonna do it. I'm not finna come in, swoop in, be Captain Save a Hole. I'm not gonna goddamn come in, swoop in, and take you and your little ones by 12 gauge Mike and rooftop Timmy. I'm not finna be I'm not finna be the fall guy to take care of your kids. I'm not finna do it. Not
let,
happening.
me, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question since you said something about take care of someone else's kids. Do you think stepdads get more praise than biological dads in American people, like on a general basis, or
I,
do you think that's fair to say?
I think it's about even. And here's what I would tell you, and I probably need to go and just watch the feed so I can just get some laughs. But I think it's about even. Here's what I think has happened. Black women have been in the position of power, in many cases, over the black man for quite some time now, right? So they kind of had their way of making the rules up because you let's face it, you have brothers out there that they only want to get to the golden kitty. That's it. Doesn't matter whatever else she comes with, as long as they can get to the cold golden kitty and hit, they'll accept it. That's why you have in the black community forever. You've had black women say a simple line, and I'm glad you asked this question. And I think we all know what this line is. And it sounds like this. Just know that I have children. So if I date you, if you and I are dating, it's a package deal.
Package deal.
You
Package
have
deal.
to, you have to, well, see, to a good man, and I have dated women with children because I have children as a divorcee or whatever. I have dated with women with children that were along the same ages of my children. I'm not going to sit here and say I wouldn't date or hadn't dated or don't date single mothers, but you have to be of a certain caliber. That is the key. You have to be a certain quality of woman. You have to be on the same level that I'm on. You have to be upwardly mobile. You have a career. You have to have been married. There are certain qualifying factors that you have to meet. But that is the problem. A lot of brothers just kind of bow down to it because let's face it, a lot of these sisters out here, single mothers, they be fine as fuck, man. I ain't gonna lie. And it is tempting. It's extremely tempting to bypass over some of the non-qualifying factors that exist, i.e.,
Yeah.
case in point, she may have a bad attitude. She may not be where she needs to be with, as far as her age and career doesn't line up. And it happens. There are a lot of brothers like that.
You know what?
That the
Let me
I'm
make a
sorry.
side. Let me make a side point real quick. I think that when the single mother discussion comes up, a lot of people saying, "Well, you know what? You'll still, y'all still fucking single mothers. Y'all love single mothers. Why are you complaining about it?" So it does bring up the talking point of relationship versus just sex. If you can see kind of where I'm going with this, because you was like, well, some of these single mothers be fun as fuck. And if that's the case, if they still, if you still fucking them, do you still have the right to say, what is usually said about them being single mothers? Are we enabling the behavior by using them as our objects of lust anyway? And just for the record, here's my answer. for this before you respond to what I've said. I think it's just being men. Period. We like pussy. So that's my point of view on it. So go ahead, guys.
Let's say this
Uh,
because a lot of women do try to somehow lump in single motherhood or men having sex with single mother as if it really means something. At the end of the day, when men start out looking for women, they're not looking for women with children. No, men do not grow up as little boys dreaming that they could find a woman with kids to take care of. So that's just not the dream.
Makes
Period. It's
sense.
just not, So that's just a BS argument. And single mothers, I call them target practice. And the reason I started using
Yeah, explain.
practice is because it needs to be stressed on what single mothers are used for. When men go out to single mothers, and I mean, don't get me wrong, they can have sex with whoever they want to have sex with. But at the end of the day, when dudes want to have sex with you and don't want you in any kind of real relationship, you're target practice. They're just using you to have sex and get their sex game up. So when they meet the woman they like, they're already good to go. You're target practice, and you got to decide as a woman, are you okay with being target practice? Because if you're gonna let a man hit you over and over and over again, you know, hit, hit it, he roll out and he don't give you no commitment, he don't do nothing for you, that's on you at the end of the day. You can't blame him. You allowed him to use you as practice.
Some people ain't gonna want to hear that, but I see exactly what you're saying. I mean, you have so many that they verbally make the choice to carry this kind of standard outwardly to these black men, saying, "Hey, you know what? Um, I'm not gonna do this and I'm not gonna do that," but then end up doing anyway. I mean, so I do kind of see what you're saying, target practice.
No, I'm serious. That's a term we need to start using. I came up with it a couple of days ago, but it's a term I feel we need to use so they'll start to get the message of what they're being used for and how they're being looked at. Because at the end of the day, again, men aren't searching out for single mothers to have relationships with. We never had that as children. We're just looking for sex. So if you allow the men to use you as target practice, understand that's what it is, and you cannot say that because men having sex with single mothers that is somehow messing things up because when you have children, you're already considered damaged goods at that point. And I'm not
Oh,
saying you're a person, but you know how we classify things. So you already considered the damaged goods once you already have the children in the first place.
yes. But let's go ahead, let's go ahead and define context, Roger, because it's like statements like that is like damage can be kind of somebody might take that the wrong way. So let's, like, when we say stuff like this, let's offer a little clarity so people, because the word damage, they're already gonna take it the wrong way. So
Of course,
and you're the king of clarity. So
yeah, I don't mind giving, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of black women who have an issue with the fact that black men do not have children, are not interested in relationships with them, or if they are, will set they set the bar a lot higher. They want her to be an acceptable woman. Now, me personally, I'm one of those. I don't have kids, so if I was gonna take a black woman and she's a single mother, then she's gonna have to be an exceptional woman for me to justify dealing with someone. And I got to see that she has some kind of family value. So for my personal sake, like if you got two kids from two different men and you've never been married, you're not even worthy of a conversation with me. And that's just what it is. I already have enough information on that fact alone to know you do not have good family values. Therefore, I would never try to make you part of my family. I don't
well,
want your kids part of
well,
my family, and I don't want to have brothers and sisters of your children with the kids I have. You know what I'm saying? I don't want my kids to have those as brothers and sisters because I'm gonna view them as raised one who does not have good family values. So when I look at women with children with multiple men, in my opinion, you are damaged goods, and there's no reason for me to even to pursue a relationship with you. I just don't have a reason to.
yeah. Well, I mean, and you do have the right to think that, and I'm gonna say. It is because of the fact that you have not been the guy that has done this to another woman, or you were the guy that used the condom. Let's put it like that. Let's put it that way. So you're able to carry a standard that you live by, you know, and not being hypocritical either. So, well, go
Hey,
ahead.
real quick, man. Let me. What's the YouTube channel that? What's the channel we're screaming over? Real quick.
Black men being brutally honest.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Roger. But I will say that at least you are being honest, and you did offer the clarity that we were looking for. But look, and here's like this with women like that. It's like, yeah, where are these baby daddies, and were they like for were they well off? Do they have money? Uh, did you have babies by them based on the standard of they had their shit together? That's one way we can look at it. But from all the complaints and all the shit that we get hit with over the head with on a constant basis, like why aren't we holding these men accountable? We kind of are, because it's like it really doesn't make any sense to have a baby by a broke dude that you haven't vetted. Period. And the evidence is with the children. I'm sorry that they're walking solid concrete evidence with the pitter patter little feet everywhere. That's what the evidence is. So that's the question I have for those out there. And there's always these glaring defenses for them. But hey, you know what? The evidence is in the pudding.
But here it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've laid out what it is that black men typically will not do. We laid that out. We know that sex is a in today's society, sex is a driving force behind some of the things that people will put up with and people will do. Um, it's called having accountability, right? So as a black man, if you have accountability for who you um, pre procreate, let me get the words right, pre procreate with, meaning that you're just having sex without the intent of having a child. It's pre procreation, right? Meaning that you're not trying to procreate, you're just having a little pre fun, you're practicing practice, right? um yeah, have I been guilty of that? Most certainly. Have I met some chick at a club or at a bar or at a lounge or at a park or at a gala or a gathering, and we hit it off, and before I found out or really deep dive into it, because the sister was just that well put together and she seemed to be nice, and you make your assessment, and then you find out that she's a hostess or a waitress that some some hotel or some damn restaurant somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we've all been guilty of that. Okay. I'm not gonna sit here and say that we don't engage in this or haven't engaged or still don't engage in some of that activity, because we do. Is it um making it where they have the ability to continue to do it? You could say that we are partly responsible for that. You can say that, because if you are dealing with a woman and you know that there is no intent to take her home to mom or to make her your main girl or your woman, you are kind of aiding and abetting that behavior, whether it's
Not
with
at all.
you or whether
Not
it's
at,
with. Yeah, you do, because yeah, you do, and I'll tell you how. And I'm glad you inserted that, because women are different from men. Women have a tendency to become scorned. They will see a good guy, and that's the guy that they want, because that's the guy that has it put together. That's the 6 foot brother with the abs, very nice, well groomed, well kept, career brother. Got the house, got the car, got the toys, and he's just jumping up and down in her. She wants more. but she knows that you don't want more from her because you've made it clear. So she becomes scorned. So she's like, fuck that type of nigga, because them niggas ain't shit either. I might as well just deal with the nigga who gon', half-ass treat me right. He may not have all of everything that I desire in a man, but at least, women say it all the time, at least he treats me right. So
I mean,
yeah.
I get where you're coming from, but see, at the end of the day, the only reason I don't view it that way, because when they meet these dudes, whatever the dude is, if he this 6 figure dude, 6 foot tall dude, whatever the case is, at the end of the day, if the guy is not lying to her, then she's accountable for her own actions. And if you're sleeping with a man that has no intention of being with you like that, and you want more than what he's willing to give you, I hold you responsible for what you did.
And
That
you're
dude
very
told you what it was. You
and you're very
participated.
and you very well should, Roger, but you also must understand that men and women think differently, right?
No,
Women,
I agree. I think they,
right? But so this is why I say what I said. Women have a tendency to get emotionally involved more so than men. That's why the power of the penis is strong, just like the power of the pussy is strong. That digmatizing motherfuckers, boy, that's a hell of a thing. And I'm telling you, I have dealt with, and I'm an honest dude, right? I'm not gonna sit here and say that I've done everything the correct way, that I only dealt with certain types of women. I was a young man at one point in time too, and getting in them draws was my main objective when I would go out to different nightclubs and different things, right? So I didn't always. I remember. I'll give you a quick story of what I mean. As a military man, was kind of young in my career. Me and the fellas, we would run around, and we knew that the women in the local town, they were looking for a woman impoverished or in or around impoverished cities, right? Very poor economic cities, right? To try to bluster the economy, or because the land is cheaper and the government can get it for a quarter of an acre, a dollar an acre, what have you, right? So we would use that to our advantage. We would show up, we would be fly with the latest clothes, the latest shoes, the jewelry, and all this shit, and we knew what we were doing when we did it. Just like them sisters, the chicken heads that we call them. They know what they're doing when they show up with their ass out, titties bulging, popping out the top of the bra. They know exactly what they're doing. The intent is for them to attract that dude. That's the intent. So we did that, and I had a chick. She worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken. This sister was black as a boot and had the body to go with it. I mean, the true Georgia peach. You hear me? I can't even front. True Georgia peach. One of them old black girls with that old stringy hair. Geechee girls. You know what I'm talking about.
mm-hmm.
Okay. I knew that she wanted more. I knew she did. And I was honest. I said, hey, look, I'm only going to be here for a short time, 2, 3 years. We can kick it. We can hang out. We can go out and date and do this and that. But I'm not really looking for, a woman, a steady girlfriend at this particular point in time. And she was like, oh, okay, I'm cool with that. But the more fucking we did, the more emotionally invested she became. And it got to a point where it was a stalker before the stalker came, before the word stalker became popular, like showing up on posts. Because back then, before 9/11, all you needed was your driver's license. The NCO clubs were big back then. That's clubs on posts. She would show up to these, to the clubs, wherever I would be in the gym, working out, and it got to a point where I was like, hey, you wilding. You know what I'm saying? Scratching my car and all that shit. I put myself in that position from the early onset. I knew better, but I chose to go the opposite direction. I knew what I was doing when I did it. So that's why I say we aid and abet these women sometimes, and then they become scorned. And we had a conversation. We kept in contact some years later, and she actually said that to me. She said, you really cut me. When we was cool, we was friends. She told me, she said, you know what? You really cut me. You really hurt me. You hurt me bad. I haven't been the same since then because no guy that I came across, I was able to treat or give him my all. So we have the power to turn a good girl bad. I know you know that.
I do agree with that, but based on the story you tell him, you told her what it was before she chose to do it. So therefore, I still blame her.
I,
I would blame you if you heard some false representation that is going to be way more than she think it's going to be. You told her from get, look, it's going to be like 2 or 3 years that I'm gonna be here, and then I'm gone after
let me
that.
ask
So that's
let me
like,
ask you a question, Roger. I gotta ask you this question. You never liked a girl or had a crush on a girl, and you knew that she did not want the same thing that you wanted, but yet you attempted, and brothers do it all the time. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. You attempted to woo her and to get her because you wanted her, even though she told you, I look at you like a friend. You're just a friend to me. Have you never done that?
I mean,
Let's just be on.
no, honestly,
Let's be
but
intellectually honest here.
if you gave me I have, you say anything about being friend, I don't want to talk to you anymore at that point.
Right, but
I'm just keeping it real.
what I'm I'm asking you at any, and I'm not putting you on trial or anything like that. I'm simply asking you, at any time in your life, have you never ran across a woman, whether it was in your teenage years, as a much younger man time frame, have you never ever ran across a woman and you were trying to get this woman and date this woman, and you knew she didn't want anything more than just the occasional dick or a movie or a meal, but yet you persisted? Have you never done that before?
No, not really. Honestly,
Okay, so you wouldn't understand. Have you never done that to a woman before? And I'm not putting you on trial again. I'm just asking you. Have you never, I won't even say led a woman on, but you told her, "Hey, look, this is what it is." You can't stop a person from catching feelings. This is what I'm telling you, my brother. That's all I'm saying to you.
What,
You
what you what you talking about? You put the
no,
dick
I
on the
agree.
rail
You
good.
can't. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Kev. Say it again, Kev.
No, I'm just saying. What he's saying? He just put the dick on her real good, and she catch feelings, and she want that dick to stay around, and you're like, no, I just want to be friends. So what you're saying is that you can scorn a woman that way. Is that if you
No, no, I get that it happens, but my thing is the responsibility comes on the person who actually knows what. If you don't let the woman know what's really going on in your head, then I feel it's the man's fault. But if you tell the woman exactly what it is, then I her fault. Like I've had a woman that I've dealt with over time, and she tells me she wants to marry me. She acts the movement with me and all that type of stuff. Always no. And she still deals with me from time to time when I want to see her. But you know, anything beyond sex, because I'm not interested in her like that, and that's just what it is. I'm
right.
upfront
So
with her.
let me ask you
right.
a question real quick. Let me ask you a question real quick. Does anybody ever admit? Okay, you see the image up here. Does anybody ever admit that this guy, you know, the jerk? Like I think you just admitted it. You know, everybody always wants to think that they're this guy, but I don't know. Have you ever had a jerk moment? Like, let me ask you this, because I mean, I've had a couple of jerk moments. You know, came out on top of the situation. Everything happened the way I wanted to happen. But you know, at the same time, it's like it was not something that I wanted to do on a regular basis in the head. But but you know, sometimes it had to be done like that. It was nothing. It's nothing short of just telling her what I wanted, and I got it. And, you know, I did it in a way that could be seen as disrespectful. She never said that it was.
Hey, you need. Hey, bro, can you check your phone, man? You kind of broke. You kind of broken and distorted a little bit. So you might want to check your do a mic check. Well, yeah. And yes, I have had. I've been the guy actually on both sides of that. That's why I see. Well, the first thing I like to do is I like to be intellectually honest because the human brain and the human heart are two of the most they're indescribable. You can't know what the human brain is gonna think or gonna tell you to do. That's just the way we were designed. You can't say that you will or you will not catch feelings for somebody who doesn't feel the same way for you. That's the reason why marriages and relationships break up all the fucking time. You're in love with the person today, and tomorrow you're not. Or 10 years from now, you're not. Or 20 years from now, you're not. That's just the way we're designed. So I believe in being intellectually honest. I won't sit here and say, well, I'm a good guy. I've always been a good guy. No, I've been the guy with the baseball cap on backwards and the little stick figure drawing that you got up here, that the girls were chasing. But I've also been the guy that was chasing the girls that was chasing the stick figure guy. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I'm gonna say this. Some stuff is about perception, and I know like a young lady that they like really want, and she'll never have the way she wants me. Now when we first met, I was attracted to her, hollered at her, and I wanted to make something happen with her. But she played two games and went past the time frame that I felt was okay. Eventually, we still talked or whatever reason. We eventually we did have sex and all that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, I no longer have interest in being with her. So I personally feel the only reason she wants me at this particular no more. There's a lot of women that do that. Want the guy that don't want them.
Right. But again, that goes back to I won't you can't say, and this is what I think I'm trying to tell you. You can't say, well, I blame them. Well, you can't necessarily do that because the human heart, as I explained to you, and your emotions from your brain, right, and your heart, always you may have the right intentions, but sometimes you do the wrong things with the right intention in mind. Just like you're saying now, you wanted the chick, but she didn't want you. Now that she wants you, you don't want her. It's because your emotions in your brain changed the way you thought and the way you felt about her. That's all that is. That's all that happened.
Well, I just looked at it as I gave you an opportunity to be with me. I gave you an opportunity. Didn't jump on the opportunity quick enough to be okay with it. You
And
see
I,
what I'm
and I understand your reasoning as to why. I understand what you're saying because I've been in that situation too. um Back to the original construct, and I want to let you get that out as well too, but back to the original construct of the conversation. The sisters that are out here dealing with these dirty dick dudes, they know in the back, well, some of them know, but some of them justify it, as women oftentimes more so than men will do. They will justify. I've seen dudes beat the shit out of a chick, and this chick loves his dirty draws to this day. I've had, I got an uncle, man. I got an uncle, right? He was married to three different women, and they all had the same fucking name, and they all knew of each other. They all were named Annie, and their middle name. They all were named Annie, and their middle name was Lee. Annie Lee. All three. I got three different aunties that was married to the same uncle with the same fucking name. I can't make this shit up. I can't bullshit you. And this dude he was that dude, and they never had a job. I never remembered him actually saying I had a job, I'm going here, I'm going there, I'm going to my job. He always lived off women. This was back in this late, I was a little kid back then. We're talking about early 70s all the way up until he passed away. And that's what he did. He would tell him, hey, get my money, and he just say some horrible shit to these women. I was like, why? And these were not the bottom of the barrel bitches. These were nurses and school teachers that he was married to. One chick was even a fucking worked at the fucking the fucking county clerk's office for some fucking attorney that he was married to. I'm talking about back in the day when these type jobs were virtually unheard of for a black woman to be working in a law firm like that, in a clerk's position. It was virtually unheard, especially in California. Okay, school teacher, yeah. Nurse, okay, yeah. That was pretty kind of regular. And these were their professions. They were college educated women who should have never, and that's my uncle, R.I.P. They should have never entertained his conversation. And they all loved his dirty draws. I would see him. I remember one particular point in time when we talk about the dirty dick dudes. I remember he got caught with his second wife that he eventually married. He had a Cadillac Fleetwood. It was the prettiest car I ever seen in my life. It was that green that looked black with the
saying?
with the with the peanut butter interior. Cadillac Fleetwood was, I mean, oh my God, that was the most, that was the baddest. I think that was the baddest. I seen him take that antenna. They called it an L wire. Back, y'all remember that?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, well in the hood they would call it a L. Oh man, you see that motherfucking Fleetwood with them L wires on it? Where the car had two electric antennas on the back that would go up and down. So that tell you how old, how long ago this been. I seen him rip the antenna off the back of that car, and literally his wife, who called him, he whooped her with that L wire off the back of that car. This is my
Mm.
uncle. I watched him do this as a kid. And I was like, why? I remember asking, I was about 7 or 8 years old. And I was like, why in the fuck would he, what the fuck? And I remember, other men in my family saying, you're wrong and you shouldn't have did that girl like that. You shouldn't be out there cheating on her like that. You wrong, you wrong, you wrong. He ended up marrying a side bitch that was in the car with him. Divorced his wife. I don't know if he did or didn't. I think she divorced him and went on with her life, which was a good thing. Then he treated the second wife he had so bad, and I was like, why do they keep coming back to this nigga? And this is my uncle. This is relative. But he was that dude, typical brown skinned brother, 6 foot tall, very attractive, had all the right words and all that shit, had the flavor, had the style, had the dress, you know. But that's what catches a lot of our female counterparts' attention. They're looking at the wrong shit. They're looking at the outward appearance and not really looking at the man for the man. They're looking at the things that he has, the things that he can do for them, the way he dresses. They're looking at, okay, his attitude may be one of an alpha male, right? But where's his heart? So
Right.
that's why a lot of sisters are dealing with these dirty, broke dick ass dudes. Am I mad for that? No, I'm not mad for that. I mean, I got my chick, so I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, have I ever been mad because some chick was say, I remember this girl, another quick story. This girl, her name was Dorothy Davis. I never will forget her. High yellow chick, you know the kind of girls everybody cheerleader, ran track, played on the basketball team, was on the volleyball team, in the bay, all around chick, smart, all this shit. Tall, shapely body, all that shit. Very fair skinned, had that good quote unquote quintessential good girl hair. But I think she has some white folks in her family down the line. Everybody wanted this girl. And the whole school wanted, all the niggas in the school wanted this girl. She ended up fucking with a dude. And she used to come, what made it so bad, she would come to me and cry about how he was treating her. But for me, I would be like, why you dealing, not to throw salt on the brother, but like, well, why you dealing with him? If he, that's supposed to be a boyfriend, but he's dealing with this girl, that girl, the other girl. I said, all he gonna do is get you pregnant, and then what you gonna do? And that's exactly what the fuck happened. Years later, at our 30th year class reunion, right? She admitted to, she said, I always did like you, but I didn't think that you liked me. I said, I used to tell you that all the time. I was crazy about you. You knew all the boys were crazy about you. She said, yeah, but
He
I
knew she
just,
liked.
well, wait a minute.
She knew.
This is what she said. She said, yeah, but it was just something about Kenny that I don't know, it just drove me crazy. I don't know what it was. I knew he wasn't no good. Now, guess where Kenny is today?
Where's
But dead.
Kenny?
Three, goddamn locked up, been in and out of jail, fucking dopehead, all this other shit. She went on, got her life together, went on, she has a BSN in nursing, have been on her job for the past 34, 35 years now, since we've been out of school, made a real plush, nice life for herself. Married and divorced, and she only has the 3 kids. The one by him who's grown, college graduate, did real well, and the 2 children she had with her ex-husband. But she could not leave Kenny alone. She would catch this dude walking other girls to class, carrying other girls' books. He wouldn't do shit for her. But late at night, that's where he would be over there with her.
Well,
Yep.
she like that emotional rush. That's all they come down to.
Exactly. So now you get it. So now you get it. The emotional. See the word that you use? I don't mean to keep cutting you off. because
No, no,
you keep throwing these points to me. You see the word that you used, emotional rush. That's
I,
why we have this dysfunction within our community as far as black love is concerned. That's why you will see a couple, they fight and argue, fall out one day, break up, go back together. I know motherfuckers been doing that for 25, 30 years. Fight, argue, break up, go back together, be with somebody else 6, 8 months, a year or two. They back together. They fighting and arguing. They can't go to the club. This one over here, he show up. He fighting, arguing with the next dude. Fighting, arguing with her. They get back together. They break up again. He go to the club. She show up. She fighting, arguing with different women and shit. Emotional rush, dysfunction.
yeah. Well, my thing is, when you're a clown, you like clown situations, and people who do that, they're clowns. They're knuckleheads. They're idiots. They're stupid. You know what I'm saying? They're not intelligent people. you know, or I'm gonna say they do not use their intelligence. They just not to be intelligent. Because at the end of the day, I mean, if that's what you want, that's what you want, and that's why I say it's not about women not knowing what's going on. It's just about the fact they don't want anything good. They want something bad, and
Some of them, I will give you that point. I will concede to that point. I would say some. For some of the other ones, I think that it is something that they cannot help because it gives them that emotional rush and boost that they're looking for. So it's like, to me, it's a 50-50 split. Some know better, they eventually do better. Some know better, but they just can't help it. It's an addiction for them.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but like I've said before, all humans are responsible for their own behavior. If you're an adult and you don't have a serious medical issue going on where you cannot control your body or your mind the way the normal person can, at the end of the day, that's on you. It's your responsibility. You got it. You got involved because you like. It's a lot of people that just like nigga behavior. I'm not gonna say it's because she don't understand that she chooses nigga behavior. She simply like the feeling she get from participating in nigga behavior. That's just how I see it. There's no excuse for that. She knows better, but she doesn't want to do better. And I've literally asked a woman before. Well, I ain't gonna say one because it ain't just been one woman. But I've asked women who have been in good financial positions. I said, well, when you sisters are in good financial positions, y'all will take a bum dude who don't have nothing going on with himself and try to help him out. Y'all do that. I give you credit for that. You know, and then on the flip side, y'all complain about these bum dudes and what they did do. Now, okay, how come y'all don't normally also try to get with good brothers who have something going on and try to help him? The type of response I get is always something like, well, the bum dude that has nothing going on for himself, well, we know he need our help, so we're willing to help him. But the dude who's already doing something, well, he got it. We feel like there's no reason to help him because he's already on his track. So I'm sitting there like, okay, so if the dude is no good and he ain't trying to really make anything happen financial, you'll pour money into him, but you're unwilling to invest in the man that's trying to make something happen. So at the end of the day, how can I process that other than you just like nigga behavior?
No, I you see, but that's like saying somebody who uh did a drug and got hooked on it, right? And then they get off, and then they're back, and then they're off, and then they're back, on and off, right? It's an addiction more so than an addiction. Is a reason why they call it an addiction is because it is something that you can't help. It's something that you can't help doing. You need it because it's your fix. You got people that are like the women that I was coming to. I no longer do that because I'm cool now. But um, I've come in contact with some women, and they would say to me that it's an addiction. I don't know why I do it. I just do it. I can't help it. I know I should choose or pick better. I've had a woman tell me, it's the I had to stop. She said I had to stop picking guys for myself because I would always pick the same caliber, same type of guy. Always. She said, so I stopped. Even I had to learn. It's a learned behavior. So sometimes they have to stop. We make the same, and I know it's not about us, but I have to be honest and fair and shoot down the middle. We make the same goddamn mistakes. We'll chase the same type woman because of the body shape, because of the facial features. Just look back over the your dating history and think about the type of woman that you imagine having in your mind. That's a learned behavior. She got to be 5'7". She can't be no 6 foot chick. She got to be 140, 150 pounds. She got to have ass, flat stomach, nice thighs, nice calves. She can't have the flabby ass arms. She got to have a cute face. She got to have this complexion or that complexion, be it dark as a boot, black as a blue, the light as the moon. It's a learned behavior, and that comes from something somewhere early on in your life when you start dealing with women. Women have the same issue. It's a learned behavior.
Yeah, but that's if we accept that it's an addiction to deal with a man. I'm not accepting that premise. You deal with the men you like. You don't have to like any kind of man. And addiction gives you a chemical imbalance because you're taking something, and you
Exactly,
can't
and
talk.
that chemical imbalance is what that chemical imbalance is what they're doing when they pick that man, because the way that man treats them, or having that type of man, gives them that chemical rush. Those endorphins come out.
Yes, but I'm saying a drug can actually alter things. A man is not gonna. He may give you a rush for that moment, but it's not gonna alter the way your chemical makeup is on a
Here's,
regular basis. Drugs
here's,
do that. Drugs
here's
damage you.
Listen, people damage you too. You have what's called emotional demons. They would drain you emotionally. I've had women to tell me that there was a very popular songwriter who wrote a song, and she talked about how a man could make you feel on top of the world one day, and the next day she can make you feel low. He can make you feel low as a worm. I've there are songs written about this. Women have been speaking about this from for years. Like, oh my God, it's just something about that man. It's just something about that man. Everybody else says he's the wrong man for me, but I love him unconditionally. They've written songs about this, timeless songs about this, from back as far back as you can remember music being put out. Women have been writing songs about the way men make them feel, and vice versa, but more so from the woman's side. So what I'm hearing from you is, I'm hearing a zero tolerance for people not being developed to a certain degree by a certain age. You know that a lot of us black people, both men and women, we're stuck in this. The 30 is the new 20. Well, 40 is the new 30. Well, 50 is the new 40. We're stuck in that. We are stuck. And I only know this because I dabbled in human psychology, have taken some, I have studied uh, at an institution, a university, some psychology, right? And what I've done in the military for the past 24 years, human sourcing, you also have to deal with psychology. So I, not saying that I'm any smarter or any more adept or the SME, in other words, the subject matter expert on this subject. I'm not saying that I know more than you. I'm just telling you that you have to look at it from a holistic, there's my word again, a holistic point of view. You can't just, it's not a one size fits all, Roger. It's not.
No,
Just
I get where you're coming from, but
I know you do, but you continue to say that, but yet you stick to your guns, which is fine. You have a right to do so. Here's what I mean. And I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna give it back to you in just a second. Here's what I mean. You're the type of person, you look at it and say, I made it. I didn't go to jail. I didn't have to sell dope. I have a great job. I've been able to do great things. I have a decent lifestyle. Why can't you? If I can do it, you can do it. You can't look at it. That's what I'm getting from you. I may be wrong, but that's what I'm hearing from you.
no, the way I look at it is people simply make choices. They choose what they like, and we go through different stages where at some particular point we like something, and maybe something happens to you later on down the road where you don't like that particular thing anymore. I accept that if you participate in any kind of ridiculous behavior, It's only because you like ridiculous behavior at that particular time. Doesn't mean you're gonna like ridiculous behavior later on down the road. Because even when you look at just from a single mother standpoint, a lot of women become single mothers because they're reckless sexually. That don't mean they're gonna be reckless sexually forever, but it's just the fact that because you have the kids, now you have something to maybe you were doing long time ago, because the kids don't disappear just because you change your mindset. So there's guys who go to prison. They were taking ridiculous chances when they were younger. They go to prison. You know what I'm saying? The system shows them, gives them the reward they got for getting caught, and then they change their mindset because they don't want to deal with getting caught anymore. So they may change their mindset at that particular point. But at the end of
Okay,
the
I
day,
think you dropped off on me, brother.
everybody. Oh, okay. All right. Am I good? Am I good? Am I good? Yeah. Okay. So at the end of the day, everybody has choices to make. We simply make the choices that we want to make, and the choices come out based on how you choose to live your life. So, just because you make bad choices at one particular time does not mean you have to make bad choices forever. But I'm still not gonna act like the reason you got to where you got to is because you simply made worse choices at that particular time. You know what I'm saying? I'm nowhere near where I could have been had I made better choices when I was younger. Everybody that made some bad choices in their life, but at the end of the day, if it's a choice, it's your fault. It's not somebody else's fault. That's just how I see the situation. You can't blame other people for something you chose to do. I'm never going to agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah. So women choose the men they like. Men choose the women they like. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've chose a woman who's had problems. I've done it more than one time. But at the end of the day, as soon as I started seeing that she had a bunch of problems, I let her go. Now, every man don't necessarily want to do that because, yeah, she's a certain way or she got a big old booty, whatever the case. Sex is great. That's up to him to one day realize that the trouble she brings is not worth what she looks like. That's on him to figure out for himself. But I can't blame her because he kept going back to her at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? When I was a young man, I say this the other night. When I was a real young brother, I had a woman. We was arguing all the time. She wanted to argue about everything. The one thing I took from that was and I wasn't good in no long period of time. It was like maybe 2.5 months. The one thing I picked up from that was that if I spend my time arguing with a woman, I can't even keep my mind on stuff that's going to better my life. So therefore, I refuse to be in a relationship like that. But some guys don't do that. As you say, you don't think people that's been together 25 years and they still arguing and breaking up.
But brother, this is why. Okay, in my humble opinion, this is why people do that, man. Dysfunction is something that a person has been exposed to, or maybe it is something that I won't even say maybe. It is something that you grew up in and around and under, which influenced you and your thought process as you grew into adulthood. People generally go one or two ways. You take a man or a woman who has grown into adulthood and they have watched their mother or father. Take a young girl, for example, who watched her mother have different men in and over her and her siblings, or maybe just her. It's always a new dude every 6 months, every year, every 2 years, 3 years, whatever. So for her whole life, that's the way it's been. She never knew her real dad, or maybe she did. Maybe he left early on. But for the sake of the argument, let's just put it like this. So when she gets into adulthood, she's probably going to go more than likely one or two ways. She's either going to follow the exact same path that her mom followed and just deal with this man, that man, the other man, maybe have, kids by, different dudes. Or she's going to say, you know what? I didn't like that lifestyle growing up, depending upon what she's been exposed to. So I'm going to go the opposite direction. I only want to get married one time. I only want to have children with one man. So those influences can cause her to have dysfunction. So here's what will happen. That's why you will have a woman who will grow up, get married, have a child or maybe two by a man. That man and her will break up, but they'll fool around for, even though he may go on and marry somebody else, they'll fool around. And then she'll end up having a side baby by her baby's father. That's how that happens. Because in her mind, that's the only thing that she can hold on to, right? Then you have the other women that grew up under that circumstance, and they're like, "Well, that's all I know because that's all they ever seen. That's what my mom did." Take a young man. If all he ever seen his father do was be um, that trashy ass, raggedy ass nigga to women and be abusive and womanizer and always every time you turn around, daddy got a new woman, a new woman, a new woman, a new woman. He done left my mama, but every time I see my daddy, he got some young chick. I know I got a homeboy like that. He despises his father because his father is a 70-some-year-old man still chasing behind these goddamn 20 and 30-year-old ass girls. And he says, for the life of me, man, I hate that nigga. He said, I know it's wrong. That's my father, and I owe him that much respect. I hate that nigga, man, because not because of what he did to my mom, but because of the influence that he had over my life. I don't want to be like him. I will never be like him. And that dude does everything he in his power to be a good man to his wife and mother of his children. Everything in his power.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a beautiful thing.
But so that's what I'm telling you. This is how the mind and emotions and heart work psychologically, right? I got another partner. Um, he's a male. His father was, that dude loved his mom, but he felt like his father was bowed down to his mother too much. He despised his father for being soft, the noodle back, not having a spine. So this dude is so hard on women, man. He hard on women. I mean, hard for no reason hard. I'm talking
Yeah,
about cold-blooded hard. So before you
say
make before you make, and I'm not saying you're right or wrong, I'm just telling you the assessment that you made as to why people do it, you might want to think about rethinking it because it's more at play here than just, well, that person is grown now, that's what they want to do. That's what they're going to do. Nah, remember, your father influenced the man that you became. Your mother influenced the man that you became. Men generally treat women the way that they saw their father treat their mother. Men generally pick women based on the way that they saw their mother treat their father.
I mean that's a lot of truth with that statement. And I get that, but it's like I perceive that once you become adult, even if you have problems have derived from your child. Because I get that there are people who have problems they can't child, but now you're in so to help you fix the problem. You talk like to help you for free, but there are to pay a person with the right mindset to help you. There's you can pay. Now I understand people want to pay a therapist or things like that, but if you see that you have an actual problem doing stuff, you taking out on people. I mean, my thing is you just got to swallow that pill and just don't pay that price. Get yourself together. My the way I look at it is when you have problems from past relationships, that's a personal problem. Not take your personal problems to your next relationship. Get yourself together. So I look at it as people have to get themselves together before they move on with somebody else and start creating for a whole other person.
Right, but I just gave you the scenario, and you know that black people don't believe in going to shrinks because that's most of the average black person ain't finna go sit and tell no motherfucker their business or their problems. Anyway, you ain't finna sit up here and think I'm crazy. I ain't going to. I ain't got. I don't have. The average black man and black woman like, man, I don't need to go talk to no motherfucker, lay up on no couch and talk to no shrink. I ain't crazy. That's the average black person for you without realizing the first sign of realizing what the issue is realizing that you have a problem. 7-step program. When you go to these alcohol AA and these drug addictive programs, that's the first thing you have to admit that you have a problem. Now, what's one of the one things that we talk about? Back to the topic that we're talking about: black women dealing with these dirty dick, no account ass dudes. What's one of the things that we've identified our sisters have a problem with? Some of them not being able to own up to their own fuckery. We've identified that. You can ask the average black woman a straight on question. Hey, would you give me some head, for example? Can you suck my dick? I want you to suck. You can tell them what you want them to do. And they will, what you mean? Bitch, well, I'm not speaking French here. We both speak English. You understand what the fuck I mean. Hey, are we fucking or not? Well, why you got to put it like that? They'll never, very rarely ever, will they go ahead and answer the question straight out. You know why? Because women have this thing about being virtuous. Women have this thing about not being wrong. Women have this thing about not showing a sign of weakness. One is because they are women, and women is they are the weaker species, whether they like it or not. They're viewed that way. So at the end of the day, that's that front that they have to put up. We all have met one and be like, well, I, man, we if you be intellectually honest, you tell the truth. We all met that woman or that young woman or a woman now that will say, well, I don't do certain things sexually. But the first time you have sex, that motherfucker is suck more dick than the average porn star. Better than. And you looking at the motherfucker
Hmm.
like, bitch, you just said you don't do that. What the fuck?
I feel you, and women have a huge concern when it comes to their image. So I totally agree with that point.
Exactly.
I think the reason that they do the things they do though is because this is my feeling. We as men do not call them to the carpet enough because yes, I know women have problems. There's a lot of women I've talked to and I could see their problem. You know, I've talked to women and I can really see
Are
and
you
I've told
breaking
women
up,
straight
bro?
to their face, look, okay, um, I've seen and I've met a lot of women who have had problems, and I get it. And I'll tell them straight out that they're delusional. You know what I'm saying? You got a serious. You need to go talk to somebody. You need to go have a conversation with your mom or your dad, or you need to go get you some help. I think one of the main problems is that we as men we don't really say that to our women, so therefore they can't walk around in society with real problems and not really address it because they feel like their image is good enough where it's not really necessary. I tell women if they messed up in the head, look, Shorty, you messed up in the head. I ain't messing with you. That's just what it is. I ain't gonna mess with you. You need to go get you some help. Now, if I say it and then nobody else ever says it to her, she's able to go in society and basically act any kind of way she wants to, because in her mind, her image is still okay. There's only one dude that called me out on it, so I'm okay. And so I think we as men got to start more. And when it comes to it, to because there's a lot of brothers, in my opinion, that's starting to grow with problems because it's to me it comes a lot from too much single motherhood. They're not being raised by men anymore, so they do act in a lot of cases. Them brothers need some help too. But if ain't nobody gonna call it out because we so concerned about trying to be super sensitive, there's no reason for them to change their behavior.
Well, I don't think it's so much as the need to call it out. What's the one thing? And here's a little psych 101 for you. What's the one thing that the average man or the average woman does not want to hear?
The truth.
Nope, it's not the truth. It could be the truth. It,
That
it
they're
can be
wrong.
the truth. It can be the truth. Criticism. Criticism of their decisions, criticisms about who they are, criticisms about their actions. They don't want to hear that. It takes a person who understands and who has the experience and who knows that, you know what, I need to live in my truth. I may want to just start listening to at what this person is telling me and try to get some understanding from this person. The average man, especially the average black woman, that's the worst thing in the world you could do to them. You start telling a sister about
I mean,
herself, they don't want to hear that shit. And y'all know I'm not lying. Those people that may be listening know I'm not lying. They don't want to hear that shit. They don't want to hear that shit.
nah, you talking real on that. Can y'all? Am I muted? Yeah.
We can hear you, but your signal is bad whatever you got going on.
Yeah, you Morgan, man.
Okay.
Rain and Woman mentioned it in the chat.
Okay. I'm about to drop out. Come back.
Yeah, yeah. Let's say hello to Rain and Woman.
Hey, what's up, sister? You see, I'm glad that she's here. I didn't know if she was gonna come, but she with the conversation we had,
She's in the chat. She's in the chat.
oh, I thought she was on the line.
No, she's not on.
Oh, okay. The conversation that we had last week when she was talking about the situation, and I hope she doesn't mind. Let me see. Karak.
Oh, now you're borging out, man. Oh, okay. We've gone radio silent. Anyway, just wanted to while we're radio silent here, just say a couple things. All it takes is, I would say, basically just a conversation. Is whether people are making choices or not. And like these gentlemen are saying, that we do have to take accountability for our choices. Period. Um, is this is stupid and absurd when you make a decision with your body? Is that you shirk the responsibility on someone else? Um, Sometimes those decisions can have irreversible effects, and it is just something that it's just a little think piece. I want people to think about. Anyway, just the subject matter is don't let these women fool you. They will fuck with a broke dude. Just to stay out of the whole little think line that it can't happen. It will happen, and it will happen, and people need to stop fronting like it doesn't happen. As you know, I'll be always be the first one to admit that men, and I know we say a lot about the women, but I'll be one of the first ones to admit that men need to be responsible with their with their stuff, and I know that's what a lot of people want to hear us say. And I mean, but see, here's the thing, we are examples of men that were careful. I mean, we've had our jerk moments, like I've said earlier, but at the same time, I was careful enough to, wait till the situation was right before I would say, had a child or whatever. What I'm saying is, if you are people who is truly on the up and up, and you choose well and you choose great, then what are the problems? What is it that what is it that what else can be said besides taking personal responsibility for all our actions? Now, I can't take any responsibility for anyone else's actions. I just like to have conversations. This kind of thing is not meant to. This kind of thing is not meant to take jabs. This kind of thing is not meant to, uh, be offensive. But we just have to admit that these are conversations that need to be had. We are all in a way, we are all habitual line steppers. But to make it official, myself, Donnie Casanova, and Roger Stevens, and our respective YouTube channels, that we are habitual line steppers. Uh, Yeah, I would like to thank Q and Roger for joining the conversation and speaking with us for a while. I really appreciate them, and honestly, the show wouldn't have been as good without these guys. They offered this, they offered their truths and they offered their thoughts, and I appreciate them for that. Okay, guys, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. And for all of the viewers out there, I do thank y'all for tuning in. And you best believe anything I say, I will stand by it. And again, um, don't let these women fool you. They will fuck with a broke dude. Period. Point blank. End of discussion. I'm not saying that they don't have standards, but just look at all the evidence that's around you. I mean, it's like social media is one thing, real life is. Oh, Q, I see you're back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, man. I got kicked out. I was looking for an answer to that question that I posed. I was looking to the answer of why is it, and I think that that would be a great topic for a show. Why is it that we have some of the most beautiful, gorgeous, sexy, educated, career orientated, self sufficient, soft, feminine women that meet all of the things that a lot of brothers are asking and talking about? They meet that moreover than not. They have all of these qualities. Why do they instead choose to be a side bitch?
Ooh,
Why do they instead choose to be a side bitch to a man that got a whole family out here?
ooh, 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 ooh.
And they know that that man is married. Why? That's a great, and I'm telling you, that would be a great topic for
No, and
a show. And you can ask that on both sides. Why is it that a man who has a woman who meets all of those qualities, you can do a man and well, I don't know if y'all you want to do that, but because
you know what though? I think that's a great idea. I'll do that for my next show because you know what? I do know a couple of situations. I've noticed that in my life. A lot of these is a lot of these it happens more often than you would think that these women would rather be a lot of these beautiful top notch ones would rather be side chicks. And I think that the answer is because they don't want to share in their accomplishment. They don't want to do what men have to do when they are accomplished and have to share the wealth. I think they'd rather do things no strings attached because they feel like they earned everything and no one's going to take that from them. In other words, ones that I guess they feel like is a warped sense of equality.
it's
You know,
more what? It's more what now?
a warped sense of equality. If they can be player, I can be a player too.
Well, I think that that exists. I think a lot of it is having for me. I think that all of those things are very valid and very valiant points, valid as well as
Mm-hmm.
valiant points, right? And very pointed to the topic of discussion. However, I also believe that it is an ego thing. I believe, and trust me, I have far more women trying to, I won't say far more, but a little more women when I was wearing a wedding band trying to get at me than I did when I wasn't. I think it is a thing of this competitive nature that women have amongst themselves. Just like now they're competitive with men.
But
You look at you look at a dyke, for example, a true boy man, a true girl man, right? A dyke, a female that's what do you call them? What do they call them?
it's good.
A stud. You look at a stud. These studs are out here really, really, really pretending to be men, dressing like men, pushing their boobs down, um, uh, tightening, not allowing their asses to show and wearing jeans and smashing their asses down and walking like men, not just sounding like men. They're in competition with not men, in my opinion, but other stud bitches. That's who they're in competition with. We would never have anything to worry about from a stud. And I'll go back. in 1 second. Men, real heterosexual men, have nothing to fear from studs. Zero. Okay, so let's go back now. Why is it that these beautiful, sexy, gorgeous women with all of these accolades, why would they rather choose, in my opinion, to be a side bitch than to be the main chick? I knew a woman that I was kind of dealing with, and that was her situation, and I quit fucking with her. Once I found out that her boyfriend or her friend, that she would always say, she wouldn't say boyfriend, she would say my friend. Once I found out that her friend was a married man that she was having a relationship with, I cut the motherfucker loose. I was like, nah, bitch, because what you want me to do is you want me to be the side nigga to a married man. You got me fucked up. I think that a lot of it is the female ego is so fragile.
Well, you know what? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It has a lot to do because being in and believe me when I say this, being in a relationship, that does spark giving. They hear that these girls love they man. I love him. He does this. He does that. And these men are validating. They're
Hey,
validating.
check your mic, bro. Check your mic.
Okay, I will say that these. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I will say that these men are validated. It's not any kind of work that they have to do to get to know this guy. They hear their friends bragging on their relationship, saying how much they love their man, and some of these women don't have that, or don't want to really put in the footwork to it for
Right.
themselves.
But the issue is, again, here's the issue. Some of these women, they can have that and more. Case in point, I know of a group of women, and that's kind of like their thing. They all got side niggas who are married, and these are not young girls, these are women, older women, 35, 40, 45, 50, and they all make it a valid point, the valid part of a discussion when you have this discussion with them, to point it out. Girl, fuck that shit. These niggas out here and shit. I'd rather get me a married man. At least I ain't got to worry about him. He don't want no outside babies. He don't want no he don't he I ain't gotta worry about getting no disease. And if I get one, then he gotta answer to me because I know he should only be fucking me or his wife. I've heard these motherfuckers say this shit, and I've said to these women, baby, you are gorgeous. You are beautiful. Any man with men, I'm sure men are falling out of the trees for you. So why would you subject yourself to being second best or getting leftovers? Hell, I'd take you myself. I actually told one of my friends, I'd take you myself. Quit dealing with you ain't gotta put up with that bullshit. Nah, you ain't ready for a chick like me. I know. I know I'm not ready for a chick like you because you're dealing with this married man because you can get shit out of him that maybe if you had a main man, you couldn't get. You don't have to, and I agree with what you said. You don't have to invest anything really heavily when you're dealing with a married man. I've never dealt with a married woman other than the women I was married to. But you don't have to invest anything as a woman or as a man when you're dealing with a married woman. If I was a man, I was dealing with a married woman, bitch, no. What you gonna do is you gonna pay me if I was that, were to take that type of attitude. Bitch, I'm not taking you out on no date, no dinner, no none of that shit. No, you got me fucked up. You the one got a whole husband. You the one finna be spending some of his money taking me out. And that's what I think some women get a kick out of that shit. Like he bought me some red bottoms and shit. His wife ain't even got red bottoms. Me and him slip away and go to these little vacations. He don't be doing that shit with his wife. But you stupid bitch, she got the whole man at home.
Yeah.
You don't get Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. You get the day after.
Get the day out there to
You
this
don't get New Year's Eve or New Year's Day.
in
You
February.
get the day after. You
You
don't
get
get
February 15th.
February the 14th. You get February the 15th. You don't get the big house. He may help you pay a few bills. He may help you pay a note or two on your mortgage, or may help you pay your rent every now and then. But bitch, you don't have the man laying up with you every night in the house that he's paying for his wife, driving the car that he's paying for his wife. You getting trinkets out here. So where's the ideology? Again, that goes to show the dysfunction that exists. And if you had women, and I'm looking for them in the chat, but if you had women on this platform, they be sitting up here screaming bloody murder.
You know,
They be blaming the men.
what though? But you know what though? This conversation didn't downgrade to fuckery. Maybe because we have a pretty calm and serene discussion. We do feel strongly about things, but the truth is the truth. I mean, if you see this, if you see this quite often, and we share the experiences, it's not a dig or it's not bashing women. If it's the truth, I mean, if we came on here and say, hey, you know what, women ain't shit, fuck y'all, then we bash. But that's fair. Oh, okay, free, free.
Who?
We all just here talking to each other.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're live. The show must go on.
True
Uh
that.
oh. Who is this? Who do we have the pleasure of?
This is quite the firecracker here. But
Bianca.
yeah,
Who? Bianca.
Yes.
yeah.
This the married chick, right?
Not at all.
Oh, okay. All right. So Bianca, maybe you can help me with this. Because I asked a very important question a moment ago. I don't know if you heard it.
No, I didn't.
Why? Okay, so I'll ask it. I don't have a problem with that. Why is it that a lot of beautiful, sexy, fine, gorgeous, feminine sisters would rather be the side bitch than to be the main bitch? Maybe you can answer that question for
Um, hmm. Well,
me.
from
Mm-hmm.
my personal experience, it was
Mm-hmm.
never my choice to be anybody's side bitch. If I was ever anyone's side bitch, it's because they lied to me about having a bitch, period.
Well, I'm not okay. So again, I
But
don't, I
for
don't like to
other women that
personalize it.
choose,
Okay,
well,
there
I
you
can
go.
only speak from my perspective. In my situation, if I've ever been in that situation, I didn't choose it for myself. It was something that I was thrown into, and I didn't find out until years into. For women that choose to be in it, I think they do it because they feel like they're going to get everything that they want. And then you have some women that have inferiority complexes, and they do it out of a need to feel better than that woman. Oh, well, I know I can take him from her. So
Yeah,
they
yeah,
do everything in their power to get in that position because they feel like they're better than her. And it ain't really about him, it's about being better than her.
do you think that some of them do it because they want to be the mother they see this man in? Like basically, I can just step. Like they be thinking, hey, I can just step in anytime I want to get this man, and he's supposed to be all yours, all yours. That factor in.
What do you mean by that? Hold on, say that one more time. He's supposed to be all yours.
No. Do you think that some women do that because they look at the commitment as like there's some kind of love for the commitment. They can slip in and get this man whatever they want. She,
Like coming between them.
yeah, like when she is supposed to be like his all, his everything, and she can get him anytime she wants. So that's do you think that's a female ego thing?
Yeah, it's an ego thing. Absolutely.
Yeah,
But see, again, that's an inferiority complex. All that comes from lack, not feeling like you're enough in your own personal shit. So you want to feel like you're enough to somebody else. So in order to get that fulfillment of feeling like enough, you do dumb shit in order to be recognized for doing that dumb shit.
yeah. I had a married friend who like he'd come and hang around me and bring his side chick around, and I just be like, I just be like, look, but this is under pressure. They leave his wife. She'll leave his wife for her. He can't see. the ones for the ones that know about the wife, I don't think I can too much feel sorry for them.
Is that Judge Dre?
No, that's Roger. Roger came back.
Oh, okay. So, sister, this is what I meant when I was asking that question, and I thank you for your explanation. But what I meant was, I'm talking about the women who acknowledge the fact that they understand that they are a side chick. Case in point, I've had a conversation with a couple of women, and I would ask them this question up close and personal. These are educated women. These are women who have done quite well for themselves in the corporate world. These are women who um, seem, they have it all put together. And I know that that doesn't necessarily quantify them
Seemingly.
as, yeah, right. And they would say to me, well, I know, they would justify it by saying, well, I know that he doesn't want any children. I don't want any children. I'm not worried about, a disease because he's married. And I get to pick and choose. I get to pick and choose when I see him. I'm just saying, this is what they say. I get to pick and choose when I see him, how much I see him, when and where and how. So that is like a bonus to them. And I'm sitting there saying, but
That's not
doesn't that
realistic.
sound doesn't that sound a little dysfunctional to you? To whereas you could have your own man, but you prefer,
Somebody else's.
yes, you prefer somebody else's. Why? This is the question that I asked them, and those were the justifiable reasons or the justify reasons that they would give.
But those aren't even realistic reasons because that's not even a consistent theory. To say that, oh, I can see him whenever I want, that's not true. You can't because if daughter has a daddy daughter dance, then you can't see him.
Well, not in terms of they can see him whenever they want. I think what they meant by saying,
Meaning that the
I
time is
get,
limited. They don't have to invest time in him.
yeah, I get to pick. I get to, I have more say so over
Right.
when,
And I
if I
address
don't want
that.
to see him, I don't have to see him because he's married. You get what
Correct.
I'm saying?
Hmm. And
I
that's a
think.
chick that is in it just for what she wants. It's still all about lack, though, because a woman that is in a situation like that has not dealt with her shit, period, point blank. Everybody got to deal with their shit if they
Mm,
want to be in a relationship with somebody. Everybody has their own shit. Everybody comes with it. I don't care what anybody says. Everybody comes with their own shit that they got to
mm,
deal with before they can be with anybody. And people
interesting.
that have unresolved shit make up dumbass excuses like that to continue to deal with unresolved shit.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it from the horse's mouth. And I know some women end up being in those situations without the knowledge because motherfuckers lie.
All day long.
Like I've had married women to say we could do all this different shit, and I was like, nah, bitch, you got a whole husband at home. Don't think I'm gonna be taking you out. First of all, the I've never dealt with anyone who was married or tried to get involved with
But
anyone
see, you
like
got to
that.
understand the woman in a relationship like that, in a marriage that's willing to cheat, is the same woman that's willing to be a side bitch. It's the same woman,
Right, and I
just
understand
on the
that.
other side of the coin.
Right, and I understand that because that's
Hmm.
exactly. But for me as a man, I'm looking at it like this: I'm not finna be the side bitch the side nigga to a. I'm not finna be the side nigga to a. Yeah, I'm not finna be the side nigga. No, I'm too selfish for that. I can't be the side nigga. Nope, we're not doing that. We're not gonna play that game.
Some dudes like that. Like
Hmm.
it's lack of accountability and responsibility in the feeling game. It's in the draft.
Well, I do think Bianca hit the nail on the head when she said it's about ego, because that's what I see. Women they're just trying to fulfill their egos, and that's all they really worried about. It ain't about the dude. It's just about their own ego.
Mm,
Hmm.
okay, well
Yeah,
I'm glad. I.
it's a lot of, like for situation. I had a friend of mine, you know, in theory, and I'm gonna just say in theory because it can actually go down. In theory, his woman was basically offering sex to me. You
Mm.
know, now my thing is we've never had a conversation or we never did anything that would even spark that type of thing. She was having an issue with him at the time. So I think the only reason she even threw that out there for me to make a move on something was simply to mess with his ego, because she was doing it for her own ego. I'm gonna mess with your friend. It ain't because she like me. It's, what I'm saying. I'm not so wrapped up in my own ego to think, oh, it's just because I'm so cold as a man. She been around me too much. If she liked me, I'd have been figured that out. You made a move simply because you were into my guy, and to try to hurt his ego and please your own ego, you were trying to do something to offer yourself to me to see if I would take it, only to throw it in his face. But it wasn't about me though.
Hey, let me ask y'all a question. You remember the movie Boomerang?
Mm-hmm.
Like how everything
Yeah.
unfolded.
Mm-hmm.
How you know this in particular, Robin Givens' character. He
Yes.
like very egotistical. Tried to do everything to keep that man on a string. like you know,
Well, she only, in my opinion, from what I remember of the movie, she only did that because she didn't want the other girl to have him, the Halle Berry's character to have him.
yeah, which is my point exactly. Like, now it was like he messed with her, and then it was some bad business shit that happened, and then like basically she I think she kind of shadowed him, and then what happened was, instead of him being depressed down in the dumps about, oh my God, I can't move on, I can't do nothing else, he went and got Halle Berry. She didn't want him back until he went and got Halle Berry. So it's just like it seems to me like once a lot of women do mess with you, they just think that automatically that you owe them the commitment, without actually having a commitment. I would say like loyalty, basically. They owe you owe them the loyalty that they're not willing to return.
I mean that's a good way to view it because I mean even with the example I said earlier, when I gave a chick an opportunity to be with me, she wasn't interested. It's when that opportunity was off the table that she became interested. Because what I'm saying? My thing was like, okay, well, I didn't try to pursue you. I gave you enough time. You don't get no more chances. Let me move on and start messing with somebody else. It's only because I could go pull somebody else, at least in my opinion, that she's even interested in me at this point. And don't get me wrong, she'll tell me stuff like, oh, it was always you, and I was just playing hard to get, and all this other stuff. And I'm sitting there like, man, I don't believe none of that at this point. None of it. You know, I offered you an opportunity, you didn't take it. That opportunity gone. You know, so now my thing is, if you give me sex in order to try to rope me in, I mean, you can try that as much as you like, but it's never gonna actually happen. It just ain't. She didn't ask me to move in. Well, can I move in with you? No. Then ask me multiple times. Answer's always no. It's just a straight out no. Ain't even no explanation behind. No, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even giving you like a reason we can't live together. It's just no, I'm cool. I ain't trying to do that. So I think it's just about her ego at this point to try to get me.
Hmm. I guess you got a point, brother.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
So
guess you
so
got
I
a point.
and back to the topic we started with about the chicks messing with the broke dude. I think a lot of that is wrapped up in ego because we live in a culture of white supremacy. White supremacy tells black women that black men are beneath them, and they like that construct. So in order to keep that going, they pursue dudes who have less than them in order to feel like that they can control men. That's
Mm.
just what I see there, which also goes into their ego.
Well, that's another good question to ask. That's an
Well, I
excellent
mean,
question.
when you look at the stat, because I know people say, and like you were saying earlier, women had power over men. And my thing is that's about perception because black men have always made more money than black men. Now with all the stuff that they're issuing now, where you have so many women going to college and all this other stuff, I'm not gonna say that won't ever change in the future, but at this point, it ain't happened yet. So if men are making more money than women, but you see so many of them, they pick the guy that makes less money than them, then you know they purposely thought the guy. You skip past a lot of people so you can find somebody to be with that make less than you because it's not a natural thing in the society where where we make more than them, yet they can't find somebody who makes more money than them. So that don't even make sense.
Well, well,
It just don't add up.
well. Let's take this. Uh, if they mess with the broke dude, why wouldn't they mess with the dude and not? So we take it from. I think what happens is when you take the conversation there, you take it from ego to control. Like if like a lot of what's being said is if the dude's well off, he has his shit together, you know, he doesn't come with baggage, then that's the one they kind of steer clear from because of the control that they would lack. In fact, if they found a dude that wasn't broken, had their shit together, they would actually have to either they already have a level up or they're gonna have to level up, but they're gonna have to keep it together for a guy that can keep in control of a guy like that. Because what that guy can do is he can stick up points. So
Well, I mean that's true in a large percentage, or the numbers wouldn't come out the way they are. Black women, and I actually I know that like a lot of women in general, we notice that women like power. Okay, just generally like power. But when it comes to black women, they specifically like power that they feel they can manipulate. So if you are getting yourself together as a man or you're on your square in any kind of way, but you're not like a multi-billionaire and is known. See, like if you're a multi-millionaire, yeah, they want you because they'll have the baby by you and get the child support payments and feel that they got paid and they good to go for the next 18 years. So yeah, they'll do that. But if you're not the multi-billionaire dude, they're not gonna put as much into trying to get with a guy like you because they feel like if I'm with you, I have to deal with black male leadership, and that's not what they want. So they will deal with the dude that ain't got what they have. That's their way of avoiding black male leadership. So at the end of the day, it's just they buy into white supremacy. They don't feel like black men should be above them. Therefore, they have to find a man to fit that area.
I do agree with that.
Can I hear you, Kev? You kind of low.
I'm sorry. I kind of lost my thought. Yeah, I'm getting a little tired, but yeah, I can't agree with that to an extent.
Hmm.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I understand even with the stuff that Q was pointing out, I understand and I acknowledge that the stuff does exist, but I just hold fast to the reality that once you become an adult, whatever problems you had beforehand, now have the ability to fix them, so you don't get to lean on that anymore. That's the way I look at it. And maybe I'm that way because I am a man, and society don't have no problem, holding men accountable. So I done been held accountable for stuff all my life. I'm even held accountable for stuff that has nothing to do with me. So as a
Yeah,
person that is held accountable for stuff that has nothing to do with me, I cannot see where a person can be accountable for stuff that actually be.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I don't understand why people they'll say that men are held accountable. Because, I mean, black men are held accountable because it's like they will say stuff like, "Well, you never called me out, you never called your man out." But one of the number one narratives out there is that black men are there for their children. Black fathers aren't there for their children. So how is that not accountable? How please get somebody educate me. I mean, in fact, I feel slighting as a black father because I have to be.
Mm.
So it's like this. It's like there is black men. We gotta sit up there. Not even saying this like me. You right there saying we know how to call out moms and losers. So we do. If it's up to you to listen to shit. If you don't want to listen, that's nothing I can do. But you just close minded anyway.
Well, you know the way I see it, because I do understand with about the men they've been with and the men they had these babies by, but all these dudes didn't do. And I literally just say to women, and they never really can get good response to this. I say I get that there's a lot of men that gonna treat y'all like trash. That's just the way it is. There's nothing you can do to change those men. I get they'll have babies, I take care of those kids. I totally understand where you're coming from. But y'all live in a country where you actually get to just ignore them. So at the end of the day,
Yeah.
yes, you're gonna have bad guys that's gonna exist, but you can't actually ignore those guys because you live in America. You're not in these other places around the world where if you don't do what men say, they're gonna chop your head off. That's not your experience. You can
Mm-hmm.
literally ignore the men that's no good. You know, so as much as y'all complain about men, in my personal opinion, you reproduce the type of men that you like. So, like when I saw a 2017 thing that came out, it was information collected from hospitals about black had 72% of their children out of wedlock, and it said that most of the fathers made $10,000 or less per year. So you talk about a bunch of guys that don't even have a job, at least not illegal, they can afford money. Well, at the end of the day, you're reproducing what you like. So if you like good men, reproduce because those are the men you have your babies by. But if you like an unproductive man that takes less than 10,000 a year, it's who you're gonna have your baby by. So my thing is they're doing and creating exactly what they want. You know, and they may talk about both sides of their mouth, but you know, your actions can't do that. You know what I'm saying? As a man, I can't
Roger,
I
you're
can't
going
say
out.
okay.
You are
Well,
Morgan out.
okay. Am I good now? I did step out somewhere, but
We good.
yeah, I'm just saying, like, as a, you know, when women do these things to have these kids by the type of men that they want, because you only have the kid by the man that you want, because you have a choice in that matter.
Mm-hmm.
So you're producing these children from these men. If you're producing children from unproductive men, then you like unproductive men. As a society, when the number goes over 50%, when you have a choice, then that's what your collective like. So as far as black women collectively like unproductive men. That's why they choose to have children by unproductive men. And
Well,
at the end,
let me reinforce that for a second. They like unproductive men. They obviously don't like productive men because of the criticisms toward Robert Smith. Yeah,
oh, absolutely, that's just evidence. Yeah, that's just more evidence that they don't like productive men.
I
But
mean, but
no, I was just gonna say my point is because they do live in this free society where they can choose what kind of man they have that big by. At the end of the day, you just got to look at what they're doing. They'll talk out both sides of their mouth, but actions don't do that. What I was saying, you said I was boring. It's like if I was a man and I kept trying to tell you I'm not gay, but every time you look up, I'm sleeping with another man. How can I say I'm not gay? But but every time you find me, I'm with a dude. You see what I'm saying? I can claim I ain't gay all day long, but the actions don't say I'm straight. So that's I'm looking at women that same way. You can claim you like good men that are productive, that are trying to be leaders and all that all day long. But when you look at the actions of what the collection collective, that is not what the collective actions are showing. So at the end of the day, I just feel like a lot of brothers need to accept the fact that a lot of black women just simply don't like productive men. You ain't got to be mad about it. Just accept that they don't like. That ain't what they into. And but I'm not saying don't be productive. Still be productive for yourself. And if you meet a woman that happens to like a productive black man, then deal with her. And I'm not even saying date outside your race or whatever the case is. But like as a person that's single with no kids, and I'm purposely not having children. It's not like it's an accident that I don't have kids. That's an effort. You know, if I meet somebody I like and I trust her enough to the point that I'll marry her, yeah, then I'll give her a child. And that's who I'll leave anything I have to at that particular point. But if I never meet that type of person, then I'm just gonna leave anything that I can get in this world to somebody who I feel should have it. And more than likely, that'll probably be like my nephew. You know, more than likely. You know, and I got a niece too, so I'll probably leave her something. I got a goddaughter, I'll probably leave something too. But I'm gonna leave stuff to people that I felt live the life that I agree with. If you don't live a life that I agree with, I don't really care about what's going on. Once I find you here and I'm not, I ain't really worried about your situation at that particular point. I'm worried about my afterlife at that point. So that's just what it is for me. So I just feel just look at what women are doing and just accept what it is that they want or don't want, and just leave it at that. But I don't believe they like productive men to say the way they say it because the actions just don't show it.
Okay.
Speak a whole lot fucking louder than words. Okay, guys. I'm tell y'all what. This has been a good broadcast, but I'm gonna end it here. If anyone has any final thought or any point that they wanted to make that they didn't get to get out yet, go ahead and speak right now.
Oh no, I'm good.
Okay, yeah, and I'm good as well. And I'm glad that we're able to come together and have these talks as always. I will say this: they can come in with the Cardi B mentality all they want. I'm big shit. You better be big shit too, because from what we see out here, as far as at least your sexual choices, it's not happening like that. What I'm trying to really say is for these guys out here who feel like that it's just the most insurmountable thing in the world. It's not. It's not in this situation. You gotta actually try not to get it, especially the way it is in 2019. It's not. It doesn't take a whole lot of money. There are women out there that require you to do things for them, but as far as sex and the very basic, no, you don't have to spend a thing. And they lay out this definition of broke, but it's see here's what it is. Sex is validation. Sex is validation, and it's validation from both sides. And since we have our counterparts, our female counterparts, are more hyper emotional, then it's validation plus plus plus. So when they can't, and if they're not getting it from the well-off dudes, I guarantee you they're gonna call Tyrone, and Tyrone will be over there to drop some dick off. And we also said it's also an ego thing too as well. So validation and ego, and sex is motivation. It's not a whole lot you gotta do. I mean, and that's the difference between an easy sexual encounter and I would say trying to build a relationship. Any final thoughts, gentlemen, before I cut this broadcast?
No, I appreciate you for having me once again, bro. It's always enlightening to come over and talk with like-minded people, and we can have an actual productive discussion without all of the personal, attacks and saying, "Well, you got to be more careful about the type of women that you're picking." So all of the
Well,
all of the shaming tactics that are used.
and I'm gonna just say I do agree with you, Kev, and I'm not gonna say that I like it to be this way. because I actually think women should go back to holding off when it comes to sex collectively. But at this particular time, if I'm trying to get sex from a woman, the last thing I think I'm going to need is money. So yeah, they'll say they don't mess with broke dudes, but the complaints they have about their baby daddies just tell me that's not true. I'm sorry, I just I just can't see that. And I think black women don't do certain things that other folks do, because it's like when people try to stay in like a certain realm of men. Like if you the type that you deal with movie stars, you try to stay in that movie star realm. But it's like sisters, I got personal friends that have slept with women that have slept with like men on a whole different level. Like, well, I ain't gonna want to say no celebrity name, but black celebrities done been with them. So my thing is, how do you go from black celebrity to one of the dudes I know? Because like we're so far apart from them. You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, I got friends that are doing very well in life, but they ain't doing it. They not making millions a year like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not what they doing. So I don't know it's like they all over the place when it comes to it. So I don't and the fact that they don't value their vagina as much as they value their own money. That's something that kind of needs to change if they really want to get more respect from men in general. They literally value their money more than their own vagina. So, and I guess all I'm gonna say from here is I'm Roger Stevens. This is check out my show, The Roger Report. And I'm done.
Alrighty then, and I'm done here as well. This is Kev, and this is the YouTube channel Black Men Being Brutally Honest. I most certainly want you to check out the other two Habitual Alliance Stepford channel. Roger Stevens, who was just speaking, he has a channel called The Roger Report. Go look for it. Please subscribe. And also Donnie Casanova. He has the YouTube channel You Ain't Shit for Watching. And yes, we're gonna keep the topics coming for y'all. We are the Habitual Line Steppers, and until the next episode, I bid thee farewell.